Hey, welcome everybody to Grounded for Life and Virtual Happy Hour. Depending on where you're at, one will be BitChute is virtual underscore happy underscore hour. And YouTube and Rumble are Grounded for Life. All right. So I don't know if I'll ever get that fixed. I don't think I will. So just get used to it, guys. But anyway, today I'm bringing you the X22 report. It's for November 30th, 2022. I don't know. X22 report. This guy, I kind of like him. David, I think he pronounced his name Sublik, but or Zublik, what is he? But he's been doing this for over 18 years. You know, he's not a newbie to it or nothing. So this guy's been through it, seen it, followed everything for a long time, has really good info. I know some people are like, yeah, whatever. And it's like, no, I mean, some stuff sounds a little far fetched, but I don't know, my belief is you got to look at what we're dealing with here. It's a little out of the ordinary. So, and it's worldwide and it's into everything. But I see a lot of evidence personally to me that shows that uh, things are things are being rectified. That's a good way to put it, I guess. Slowly but surely. And I think December is going to be a wild one. I really do. Hang on, guys. Because I think a lot is going to happen in the next, I don't know, next month for sure. I don't know. It's just all heading up to that. That's what I'm seeing. I know a lot of people throw down dates and stuff. I wouldn't do that. I see stuff coming to a head. It's got to go one way or the other, you know. And do I think everything will be back to normal and fixed the way it was? Nah, no. I think it's going to take a while to clean this mess up. Actually, the damage that's been done to the United States and worldwide, I think it's going to probably take years, you know, to straighten it back out again. But you got to start somewhere, right? So, without any more delay, we'll start this and share my screen. Get this going for y'all. But yeah, I think things are possibly going in the right direction from what I can see. Um, the one thing I'm really stoked about is uh, crap. No, I can't remember the names. Loy. Let me see. Just I got it wrote down here. Brunson. The whole Brunson thing that went to the Supreme Court, and they're not really challenging the election results at all. It has nothing to do with that. That's why I think they got half a chance with this, because if they were, they just toss it. They don't want to hear about it. They want to deal with it. No, they're not doing that. What they're doing is challenging the fact that there was serious objections from over 100 members of Congress and Senate that said they actually had proofs that the election was kind of cooked. If that's a good word to put, I don't know. But and basically they just ignored them. Where they're, according to the Constitution, there should have been an investigation held. Um, I know Ted Cruz had mentioned a 10-day investigation and certify, but they didn't. They didn't even look into it. They just certified. And by doing that, that's treason uh, against the Constitution, against us, the people, just ramming it through like that. So that's why I think it's got a half a chance, because they're going after procedure, not outcome, if you know what I mean. Not the outcome of the election, but the procedure of how it was handled. And I honestly think these guys came out of nowhere and they're gonna. I mean, they're talking 388 people in Congress, vice president, president, speaker of the House. Anybody that voted for certifying the election, yeah, they're going down. And there are a bunch of Republicans too. It'll be interesting to see who they were. They won't tell you how they vote, but it'll be really interesting to see who voted certify. We know Pence did because he was standing up there doing it. But yeah, anyway, let's get on. I'm rambling. Sorry about that. But let's jump into it. Let me put this control thing down. And let's see, did I? Just trying to make sure I set this up right. Wasn't sure. I know I didn't. But I think I'm able to do this. Optimize. All right, I'm doing it in here. I should have clicked it and I brought it up. Something you guys don't really see because it's not on your end, but I'm still learning, guys. Bear with me, please. It's not an easy thing. I'm an 80s child. We didn't have computers. I'm still trying to figure it out. My 5-year-old grandson probably knows how to run this better than I do, to be totally honest with you. So I'll hide these controls. And yeah, here we go.
And welcome. You're listening to the X22 Report. My name is Dave, and this is episode 2936B. And today's date is November 29th, 2022. And the title of the episode is Elon says this is a battle for the future of civilization. There is no other way. Info warfare. Let's talk about being prepared. Politicians are warning civilization could break down from the recent overwhelming surge in crime. Officials say that the country will continue to spiral out of control if something isn't done about the violence in cities like New York, Atlanta, and Chicago. Homicides have increased to as high as 50% and as high as 36% for aggravated assaults in some parts of the nation. Listen closely because I'm going to give you a life-saving tip. The best self-defense gadget I have added to my everyday carry is the Fighter Flare flashlight. The Fighter Flare flashlight is an all-in-one ultra-bright flashlight built for self-defense. One facewall of the 800 lumen strobe light will help blind any attacker. Thousands of preppers trust their life to the Fighter Flare flashlight every day. This Black Friday, get the Fighter Flare flashlight risk-free for 30 days and up for up to 20% off by clicking the link in the description box down below or visiting fighterflare.com and using promo code BLACK20. After placing your order, the Fighter Flare flashlight will be delivered straight to your doorstep. Let's get into the economic collapse, political and geopolitical news. Now, the deep state, the corrupt politicians, big tech fake news, the puppet masters, they knew from the very beginning when Elon was going after Twitter that they were losing the control of information. And remember, this is what this is all about. We're in a 5th generation war. There's perception, misinformation, disinformation. And they use these social media platforms. They use the fake news and, yes, a lot of the corporations to control the narrative. Now, Trump and the Patriots, they knew to fight this war, they were going to need weapons. Weapons of mass destruction. No, I don't mean bloodshed. I don't mean people dead on the streets. I'm talking about weapons that could fight against the deep state players. So if you really think about it, what weapons did the people have? Well, yes, we went on to Twitter. Yes, we went on to YouTube. Yes, we started to tell the truth. But who controlled those weapons? It wasn't we, the people. It was the deep state. And the deep state, they were able to shut down the truth. They were able to censor. They were able to control the narrative. And then what did the people do? All those people that got censored, all those people that were controlled, they moved to different areas. Now, once again, yes, we were able to push the truth out there, but to go up against the deep state players, to go up against their narrative, we would need a weapon of mass destruction. Now, Trump, he started Truth Social. But I do believe the plan, and the plan has always been to bring on Twitter and to push the information out there, to disrupt the deep state's plan, the deep state's strategy. And this is exactly what is happening because Elon said something very, very interesting. He said This is a battle for the future of civilization. Without free speech, we're just a step away from tyranny. And he's absolutely right. Now, I'm paraphrasing that, but he's explaining to everyone, if we don't have free speech and we continue down this path, it's going to be game over. Now, I do believe Trump and the Patriots, this has been a battle from the very beginning. This is a war that is being played on a different realm than we are used to. This is not a physical war. This is not people bleeding. This is, death on the streets. This is not about destruction. This is about taking back control of the information. And that is what we are seeing right now. The control is being returned to we the people. And we the people are going to use this weapon against the deep state players. I do believe we're going to see a lot of things change right now. And we're going to see a lot of things happen during the course of this. Now, this is not going to be an easy battle, as we already know. This battle, this war that we're in, is going to continue for a while. Actually, Trump let us know that these next 2 years are going to be very tough. And if you want freedom, if you want to live free, if you want the deep state out of your lives, you're going to have to fight for freedom. And that's what we're doing right now. Just like with the Revolutionary War, they had to fight with their own blood. They had to fight to get their freedom. Freedom is not given to you. Freedom has to be fought for. And if you really want it, you will fight for it. Now, I do believe that the people of this country are fighting for their freedom every step of the way. Remember, on the other side is the enemy. They're going to continually push back. Yes, there are going to be a lot of people that are part of this system. And yes, they're going to try to shut you down at every turn. Does that mean you hide, you run? No. Can you imagine if the founding fathers and all the people who were fighting for freedom, they decided one day going, oh, wow, you know something? I've been at this for like 3 years now. This is really rough. And they just left. This country wouldn't exist. It's the same thing that's happening right now. Yes, you're going to get tired. People are going to get tired. But if you want freedom, you're going to have to continue to fight and fight until the very end, until we destroy them. And what I mean by destroy them, expose everything about them. And that's exactly what is happening. Actually, if you look back in time and you look at where all this started and look where we are today. Remember when pedophilia, child trafficking, worshiping Satan, that was all conspiracy? Well, is it conspiracy anymore? Or are people seeing the truth now? Is Balenciaga, are they in the spotlight right now? Is Rachel Chandler coming into the spotlight right now? Are people starting to see pedophilia? Are people starting to see child trafficking? Are they seeing those same people that were out there for Ukraine saying, yes, we must support them? Are they seeing the same people that were supporting vaccines for everyone, lockdowns for everyone? Let's get rid of the bad orange man. Where are all these people? Where are the protests? Where are the videos? Where are they? They're all part of the system. And now you can see this very clearly. And you can see the people now, they're gaining the knowledge. They're seeing with their own eyes the truth. And as Twitter comes online, everything the deep state has put into place is being stripped away. Elon is going to be bringing out the truth. And once certain individuals who are spouting the truth get back onto Twitter, this war is going to change rapidly, which means the deep state, as they're losing control, they're going to push harder and harder and harder. The attacks are going to be attacks like we've never seen before. Look what's happening to Trump already. All he mentioned was, hey, I'm going to run for the presidential election in 2024. Look what they've done so far. In a short couple of weeks, all of a sudden they have a special counsel. All of a sudden they're going to indict him. All of a sudden the rhinos are out there saying, oh, Trump spoke to anti-Semitic people. He can't be elected president. We will not allow this. This is what McConnell's saying. I mean, these people were brought out of the shadows into the light, And now you can see exactly who and what they are. And they're pushing their agenda. Remember, the bad people in the Republican Party, they don't want Trump. The Democrats definitely don't want Trump. You know who wants Trump? The people of this country. The people who want the country back. And the people who are fighting for this country. And you can see that this is going to be a long, drawn-out battle because the deep state, they're not just going to say, I give. They're going to use everything they have to shut down Trump, to shut down the truth, to shut down the people that are pushing the truth. They will not stop until the end. But you know what? I do believe that the people now are getting sick and tired of these individuals as they learn the truth. And as more and more of this truth comes out, the people, they're going to dig in. The people are going to research. The people are going to prove them wrong. And all those conspiracies and all those made-up lies about what's really happening, those are going to come out into the open, just like Hunter Biden's laptop. Remember, it's a conspiracy. It's Russian disinformation. All those people saying that it's Hunter Biden's laptop, they're liars. They're conspiracy theorists. Well, it turns out that it was his. They were wrong. They lied about it. Actually, they weren't just wrong. They lied about it from the very beginning. And the people that said, oh, no, there's the receipt, there's a signature. The store owner says, oh, yes, he came in, he dropped it off, he signed for it. It's his. And they lied. They all lied about it, and they're going to continue to lie. So when you hear information, the information that they're pushing out, I would say 99.99% is a lie. Because remember, this is an information war. And what are they using? They're using information. But now the people are going to be using information, and they're going to hit back at these individuals. And I do believe Trump and the Patriots and Elon, they were all in on this. Isn't it very interesting how the timing of all this just happened all at the same time, where all of a sudden Elon now has control of Twitter, and now Trump is back on Twitter. The policies are being removed, and all of a sudden people are going to be let back on. He wants free speech, and this is going to be pushed now at this critical time. I do believe that this was all part of the plan. We're going to be talking a lot more about this a little bit later. But first, let's talk about the Biden administration, because remember, the criminal syndicate people, they are criminals. Don't ever forget that. Yes, they might be in suits, so they're criminals in suits. But remember, criminals hire criminals, and you can actually see this. Remember that non-binary Biden nuclear official that he hired to handle the nuclear waste or whatever it is? Well, it seems that this individual, he sold a suitcase from the airport, and his name is Sam Brinton. So on October 9th, Brinton denied stealing anything when a police officer called to discuss the incident. Brinton confirmed still possessing the suitcase. He said, if I had taken the bag, I'm happy to return it, but I don't have any clothes for another individual. This is what he told the officer. That was my clothes when I opened the bag. 2 hours after the phone call, Brinton called the officer back and apologized for not being completely honest. Brinton said it was a mistake and blamed being tired for taking the wrong bag at the carousel. He was tired and he took the wrong bag. Don't people have their names on the bag? I mean, this is completely ridiculous. Now, Brinton, he faces up to 5 years in prison and $10,000 fine for allegedly taking another person's bag. Now, remember, this individual, he is in the Biden administration. He is now on leave, but there is no word that he's going to be fired yet. And remember, criminals hire criminals. Criminals let criminals out of the prisons. And we're seeing this all over the country. We'll be talking about that a little bit later. But Jordan Boyd put this out on Twitter, said the following: the Department of Energy confirms Sam Brinton's automatic email response, which indicates he is on leave over felony theft charges. Sam Brinton is on leave from DOE, and Dr. Kim Petrie is performing the duties of Deputy Assistant Secretary of Spent Fuel and Waste Disposition. Now, the question is, these people that the Biden administration is bringing in, other mayors and governors across the country, you know, their staff, is this the best of the best? Are these people actually really qualified for all these positions? Or are these the losers that they brought in? Are these the losers that couldn't find any other job or do anything else, And they brought these people into these positions because they're actually, if you look at the career politicians, they never had any other jobs. They never did anything. They never worked for money. Yes, they money laundered, but that's not really working for money. That's easy. And now they're bringing in the same exact people. So do we actually have the best of the best working for we the people? No, we haven't had this for a very long time. And now people are starting to see this. And the other thing that's very interesting, it seems that the people of this country, they want an investigation done on the Hunter Biden laptop. Now, remember, the intelligence clowns in the very beginning told us it was Russian disinformation. Of course, they never provided any proof, just like the pandemic. They never provide anything. It's all propaganda. Joe Biden even lied about it. Jen Psaki even lied about it. The fake news even lied about it. And now they're all admitting that, yeah, I guess it's real. No, they knew the entire time. They lied to the American people. They looked at them straight in the face and said, yeah, we're lying to you. We're not telling you the truth. It is his laptop, but you're so stupid, you're not going to believe us. That's what they actually did. And now the people are saying, you know something? We want an investigation. Rasmussen reports they did a survey and they found that 62% of likely voters approve the GOP plans to scrutinize Hunter's foreign interest, and they want this investigated. Now, this is very interesting because now we can see Hunter is now actually the hunted. And these people that told lies, they should all be investigated because they knowingly lied about this. Now, the other thing that's very interesting is that Devin Nunes, he had a defamation case against MSNBC, and Rachel Maddow claimed that Devin Nunes never handed over a package he received from Andriy Durkak, a pro-Russian Ukrainian legislator, to the FBI. The package was handed over. Nunes then sued, alleging that Maddow knew the package had been handed over, but wanted to hurt his reputation. So a New York judge is now allowing the defamation case to go forward and saying, yeah, this can go forward. He ruled that Nunes' claim of actual malice was plausible. Isn't that interesting? And remember, the suit is not against Maddow. The lawsuit was filed against NBC Universal. But once again, she was part of that corporation, so that's why her name is being brought into this. And yes, she said many other things in the past about all different things. But we could see that his case is now moving forward. Isn't that interesting? Now, the whole thing with Balenciaga, this thing is completely falling apart on them. Remember, when you have a photo shoot, certain items just don't appear. It takes hours and hours and hours to set up for a photo shoot. And you bring in certain items because you want them in the photo shoot, like a bear that has, leather wrappings for BDSM, children, certain documents on the table. And they knew exactly what they were doing. This wasn't just done by accident. It's almost like PayPal saying, oh, it was a glitch. I don't know how this new terms of service came out. Do you really think they just push a button and it just appears? It has to go through all different attorneys. It has to get approval. It's the same thing with the photo shoot. You know how many photos they take? Do you know how many times they look at it? Do you know how much prep work it takes to set up everything perfectly? It's all staged. So they knew the document was there. They knew the children were there. They knew exactly what they were doing. And their apology is ridiculous. And it speaks louder than anything else where you don't hear Hollywood or anyone else speaking out. And actually, Kim Kardashian's statement that came out is totally weak. She refused to denounce Balenciaga. She said she's going to still work with them. This tells you everything you need to know. And yes, all those conspiracy theories about pedophilia, child trafficking, oh, just wait. All that information is going to be coming out very, very soon. And you're going to see the connections between Epstein. You're going to see the connections between all these corporations. You're going to see Disney being brought into the light just with everything else. It's all going to start to come together. Because look how hard they're fighting for the groomers. They're fighting very, very hard for these individuals. I mean, right here, just with what happened, we should have heard Hollywood out there denouncing this company. And there's nothing. There's crickets. Yes, there's a couple people, but there is absolute crickets from all of them. I mean, remember, they were out there against Trump, about lockdowns, about vaccines, about Ukraine, about all these things. They were making videos. They were all out there. Now there's nothing. Now, what's very interesting is we know that certain information is going to be released about Jeffrey Epstein and who was involved and all this information. There's going to be named, I think, 8 names or something like that. And that's going to be brought out into the public realm. But a woman just filed a lawsuit claiming billionaire former CEO of Apollo, Leon Black, raped her inside Jeffrey Epstein's Manhattan mansion over 20 years ago. And in the lawsuit, Cherry Pearson names both Black and the estate of Jeffrey Epstein as defendants. And the suit states Epstein arranged for Pearson to give Black a massage at Epstein's New York City mansion in an exchange for money. However, before the massage could take place, Pearson would then allege Black brutally raped her and left her swollen and bleeding. So we're going to have to see how this plays out, because I think we're going to start to hear a lot of different names. And as this continues on, it's going to get worse and worse for the deep state players. And remember, the deep state players, they're made up of those in Hollywood, those who run corporations, sports organizations, amusement parks, you name it. We're going to hear a lot of information all of a sudden being brought out into the public realm. Now, the other thing that's very interesting is we know that criminals, it's the criminal syndicate that's running the country. If they're criminals dressed up in nice suits, then yes, they're going to allow the criminals back out on the streets. And this is why you see the criminals in different cities with no cash bails. They're out on the streets just like that. And now, out in California, thousands of pedophiles are being released from California prisons in less than 1 year thanks to Democrat policies. More than 7,000 of the convicted child abusers being released from prison were found guilty of lewd and lascivious acts with a child under 14 years of age. And some of the pedophiles committed horrific acts such as sodomy and rape. And now they're being allowed back out into the public arena. Why is that? Are they going to be used later on? Do they want chaos? Well, didn't they do this right before the 2020 riots? Didn't they say COVID was going through the prisons? We just can't keep these people in there. And they let the prisoners out. And weren't there prisoners? I mean, people that were committed, who were convicted of crimes, didn't they attack Kyle Rittenhouse and many other people? Absolutely. I do believe they're going to be using these people later on. Now, remember, all of this is happening and people are seeing this. And the people are going to reach that point where they say, enough is enough. We can't take this anymore. And this is exactly what Trump and the Patriots want. They want the people to reach that point. Because once the people are awake, once the people are thinking logically, once the people break away from the chains of the deep state, the people then will start to push back. We've already started to see this. And this is what the military, I do believe, is waiting for. They're waiting for the people, not anons, not a couple people that are awake. They're waiting for the country. Yes, there might be people that are for Trump, but they don't know what's going on. They're not fully awake yet. And they will be very, very soon, because you can see all across this country and across the world what's happening. I mean, just think about the borders right now. The borders are completely open. There's an invasion that is happening right now, and the people are watching this. Trump, he put out 2 truths on Truth Social. He said the following: just 2 years ago, we had the strongest, most secure, and safest southern border in American history. Now we have the weakest and most dangerous border anywhere in the world. We're being invaded and overrun by millions and millions of people from parts unknown. Some of the world's worst criminals and drugs are pouring into the country. We are laughing stock all over the world. And at least 10 million people, many of them really bad, have entered since I left office. Our country has gone mad. The USA will be paying a very big price, perhaps the biggest price of all, because of what is being allowed to happen at our southern border, which 2 years ago was the most secure by far in history. I built hundreds of miles of desperately needed wall, was able to get 28,000 Mexican soldiers free to guard the border, and created and got approved the incredible Stay in Mexico policy. Now it has all gone to dust. Our country is rapidly destroyed. Make America great again. And he's absolutely right. Now, really think about this. Think about all the people that are in this country. Remember, Trump told us that we're going to track these people down and we're going to return these people to their countries in the end. But how do you bring all these people, all these criminals and all these individuals that are going to work with the deep state players in the end? How do you get them all in one place? Well, what happens if there's chaos? One's if they try to start a civil war. Will they all be in the place you need them to be? I do believe so. Yes, there'll be some others that we have to go and find, but I do believe to build this up and to build the chaos, they're going to use Antifa. They're going to use the criminals. They're going to push this as hard as they possibly can. Now, what's very interesting is we know that there's an information war going on. Elon Musk has been brought in now. He's running Twitter, and the deep state is panicking like we've never seen before. And the Washington Post, they came out and they finally made a connection between Elon Musk and Trump. Remember that picture that Elon Musk had? His nightstand, there was a revolver there. There was a picture of George Washington on the Durham boat. There was also a pistol that I do believe George Washington used. And there was also cans of Coke. Well, Trump drinks Diet Coke and Elon drinks Diet Coke, and there's your connection. I'm not kidding. This is what the Washington Post put out. That's absolutely unbelievable. But when you look at the nightstand, yes, there was a revolver there, but it was fake. It's not a real revolver. It's from a video game, and the video game is Human Revolution video game, and this is a replica of that revolver. Now, there's also another replica of George Washington's flintlock pistol that was right in that box where there was a picture of the Durham boat with George Washington going across the Delaware. And this is very interesting because the toy gun replica was a Diamondback .357 revolver from the video game Human Revolution. And the gun control people, they went absolutely crazy. Oh my God, look at Elon. He has a weapon on his nightstand. How irresponsible of him. But if you look very closely at the weapon, there's no trigger. There's no trigger, and this weapon can't be fired. So did he do this on purpose to get all the gun control people going crazy and tweeting out like crazy and making them look like fools? I do believe so. Now, what's very interesting is that we know that Apple now, they're going to do everything they possibly can because they're controlled to shut down the information that's coming out of Twitter. And this is why we're starting to see threats from Apple saying that they're going to withhold Twitter from its app store. And we know this from Elon because he mentioned this. But when you start to look down the rabbit hole, and actually Rabbit Hole on Twitter put this out, Rabbit Hole said 97.5% of Apple's donations are to the Democratic Party. Twitter allowing free speech is against party interests, so Apple must play the role of enforcer. And if you really look, Netflix, they give 99% of their donations to Democratic Party. So does Airbnb, Apple, Stripe, Lyft, Google, Salesforce, Facebook, eBay, PayPal. And this is why these companies, this is why we have problems. Because companies now are supporting certain candidates. I think moving forward, corporations should not be allowed to donate to any party whatsoever. They're not an individual. I know that there was a law that was passed or whatever. I think it was during Clinton time. I might be mistaken. When they said, oh, yeah, corporations are just like people and they can donate. Well, why do you think they did this? I think it should only come from we, the people, individuals. We don't have corporations voting, do we, in the general elections? No, we have people voting. So why would they be able to give money to a candidate? They shouldn't. But look at all the advertisers that have stopped advertising on Twitter. Julia put this out and said, here's a list, and here's some of the companies. Abbott Laboratories, Allstate Corporation, AMC Networks, MailChimp, Marriott International, Mars Pet Care, CNN, Dell, DirecTV, Discover, Coca-Cola, the Kraft Heinz Company, Tire Rack, Verizon, Wells Fargo, and there's many, many more companies. And really think about that. All these companies are leaving Twitter because Elon saying free speech is a must. Now, when there was, let's see, pedophilia, child pornography on Twitter, none of these companies left, did they? They all stayed. They were all part of it. And they knew that this was happening. That tells you everything you need to know, doesn't it? Because we know from Elon Musk that they have shut all of this down. And this is his priority number one. Let's talk about being prepared. Politicians are warning civilization could break down from the recent overwhelming surge in crime. Officials say that the country will continue to spiral out of control if something isn't done about the violence in cities like New York, Atlanta, and Chicago. Homicides have increased to as high as 50% and as high as 36% for aggravated assaults in some parts of the nation. Listen closely because I'm going to give you a life-saving tip. The best self-defense gadget I have added to my everyday carry is the Fighter Flare flashlight. The Fighter Flare flashlight is an all-in-one ultra-bright flashlight built for self-defense. One facewall of the 800 lumen strobe light will help blind any attacker. Thousands of preppers trust their life to the Fighter Flare flashlight every day. This Black Friday, get the Fighter Flare flashlight risk-free for 30 days and up for up to 20% off by clicking the link in the description box down below or visiting fighterflare.com and using promo code BLACK20. After placing your order, the Fighter Flare flashlight will be delivered straight to your doorstep. But it's very interesting that all these companies, they weren't out there screaming and yelling, you better get child pornography and pedophilia off of Twitter or we're dropping you. Or why didn't they just drop it? No, they're dropping it when he's saying we need free speech, where we need people to speak freely. Isn't that part of this country? Isn't that part of the Constitution? And these companies are going up against it? Really think about that for a second. Julie Kelly put this out and said, Musk is doing what Trump did during his campaign and presidency, exposing the ruling class, including big tech, for their authoritarian impulses. His good humor and fearlessness make for even better political theater, a clarifying moment in the long march against the radical left, a lesson for all. This is also what Tucker does with such skill. Mock the shit out of these monsters and embrace their contempt as a badge of honor. This is the way. And DeSantis was even out there, and he's saying that Apple, don't be a vessel of the CCP on one hand, and then use your corporate power in the U.S. on the other to suffocate Americans. Elon Musk, he put this out on Twitter. Apple and Google effectively control access to most of the internet via their app stores. DeSantis also said Congress might need to start to look into this because if they have a monopoly over all of this, there's something wrong and they can control it the way they're controlling it. There is absolutely something wrong. So Elon, he put up a poll, and the question that he asked was the following. Apple should publish all censorship actions it has taken that affect its customers. Well, 2.2 million people voted, and I do believe there's a lot more people. But right now, 84.7% say yes, that Apple should do this. You think Apple's going to do this? Absolutely not. Then Elon put this out on Twitter, and I believe this sums it all up, and this is the information war. And we know that we're in it. This is a battle for the future of civilization. If free speech is lost, even in America, tyranny is all that lies ahead. And yes, that is absolutely true. And that reminds me of post 3610. This is November 20th, 2019. It says control of narrative equals control of public opinion. Control of public opinion equals power. How do you control the narrative? Information warfare. Well, do you take the weapon away from them and use it against them? Absolutely. That is what we're seeing. This is why they're so afraid of the First Amendment, and this is why they're so afraid of the Second Amendment, because the Second Amendment supports the First Amendment. And this is why the people around this country are buying weapons like we've never seen before. The more mass shootings there are, the more crime that people are witnessing, the more that this tyrannical government tries to control free speech. You know what the people do? They buy more weapons. So the FBI, they ran 192,749 National Instant Criminal Background checks on Black Friday. Now, if you compare this to Black Friday back in 2020, there were 186,645 checks compared to 192,749. So more and more people are deciding, you know something, I need a weapon. And remember, no matter what Biden says, no matter what Congress says, if they pass a law that is repugnant to the Constitution, the people do not have to follow it. So I know Biden is out there saying that we're going to be banning AR-15s. Biden is out there saying we're going to be doing this to weapons. And some of the governors and mayors, they're pushing certain laws in their areas. But remember, semi-autos meet every criterion of legality laid out in D.C. versus Heller. The decision that finally codified the clear historical and legal intention of the Second Amendment. Not only are semi-automatic weapons in common use by law-abiding citizens, they are not unusual. The first semi-automatic pistol hit the civilian marketplace in the 1890s. It is, as it always has been in the gun debate, incrementalism. From no one wants to take your guns to we only want to take some of them, and so on. Of course, even if the president really intended to talk about a semi-automatic rifle ban, his goals would still be unconstitutional. Again, the gun meets every standard set by the Heller for legality. And if the Senate somehow musters the 60 votes to push through the ban on certain semi-automatic guns recently passed by the House, states should challenge the federal government and, if need be, ignore it. Plus, if it's repugnant to the Constitution, to your rights, it is null and void. And the people can say, no, this is completely repugnant. And you're going to see a lot of states push back on this. And yes, this case is going to go all the way to the Supreme Court. Remember how they play the game. They know that if they try to push something, it's going to take a certain period of time before it gets to the Supreme Court when all the lawsuits start to come in, states start to push back. They know they have this time period, and they're going to try to take as much as they possibly can. They did this with the vaccine mandates. Let's see how many people we can get vaccinated, and let's see how many people believe us. And yes, there were a lot of people that went ahead and did it. And then what happened? Well, all of a sudden, these mandates completely disappeared. And the people said, holy crap, what did I just do? This is how they trick the population. They're knowingly going against the Constitution. They're playing this evil game with the people. And now the people are starting to realize what this game is. And everything that they're trying to do with the pandemic is completely failing. The people don't care about the pandemic anymore. 28% are worried about catching COVID. The other people, they don't care anymore. They're living their lives. They're not wearing masks. They're not worried because they know all this information about the science. There was nothing based in science. Let's take, for example, the WHO. Remember back in May, when the vaccines were coming out, they told us it was 95% protection. Then in June, they said it was 70% protection. Then in July, they said it was 50% protection. August, no protection, but reduces the spread. September, they said, doesn't reduce the spread, but reduces severity. October, doesn't reduce severity, but reduces hospitalizations. November, doesn't reduce hospitalizations, but you aren't going to die. December, you die, but you go to heaven. I mean, every step of the way, all they did was lie. And they just moved the goalpost and moved the goalpost. So now we have Twitter. They're already stopped enforcing the COVID-19 misinformation. This was effective on November 23rd, 2022. And Twitter is no longer enforcing the COVID-19 misleading information policy. So now the people can actually tell the truth. Now, if we go back to 2020, look how many people were censored and banned back then. The total since January of 2020, 11.72 million accounts were challenged with COVID misinformation. 11,233 accounts were suspended for just COVID misinformation. 97,674 content was removed, which means the channel wasn't banned. All they did was remove the content. This is how they were controlling the narrative. Now this is all gone. Kyle Becker put this out and said, now that Twitter ended COVID misinformation policies, let's review the experts' misinformation. 15 days to slow the spread. Masks work. Lockdowns work. Natural immunity is a myth. mRNA shots are vaccines. COVID shots stop transmission. 100% safe and effective. All of this was a lie. They lied to the American public, and they hid the truth. This is crimes against humanity, right there. And the other crimes against humanity is classroom indoctrination. It's grooming. And out in Texas, just like in Florida, it seems that Governor Abbott right now is putting a stop to this. He says our schools are for education, not indoctrination. We will put a stop to this nonsense in the upcoming legislative session. Schools must get back to fundamentals and stop pushing woke agendas. We will pass laws to get it done, and absolutely, this needs to be done in every single state. And all those individuals that are pushing this, they need to be voted out, and that has already started. And this will continue on. And what's very interesting is we can see the deep state players, they are struggling. They have lost their weapon. The people now have taken the weapon back, and the truth is being brought out, just like with the January 6th Unselect Committee. As soon as Elon Musk unbanned Trump, everyone could see the tweets and everyone could see the truth that no, he had nothing to do with what happened on January 6th. Actually, what happened in January 6th was the cover-up of the insurrection on November 3rd. And they had Antifa, they have the confidential human sources, they had neo-Nazis, they had BLM, they have the Capitol Police, all involved in creating this false flag. And yes, sooner or later, the information is going to be coming out. But what's very interesting is that Cheney is actually protecting Ray Epps. Julie Kelly put this out and she said the following. Looks like Cheney is bullying January 6th committee into only focusing on Trump and omitting critical analysis of law enforcement failures in final report. Release now delayed a fourth time. Staffers are venting to reporters. Some have quit in protest. Like all things, Cheney, the end is fraught with internal drama, delusions of grandeur, personal score settling, private bullying, and growing disaffection among those who trusted her to act in good faith. But someone should love Liz. Ray Epps, she strongly defended him. At University of Chicago event, after conservative students with Thinker Chicago confronted her as to why he hadn't been charged. Her reply, Epps did nothing wrong, and she's not in charge of prosecution. And anyone who thinks Epps is a government asset is pushing conspiracy theories, which tells you everything you need to know, which means this is absolutely true. Think about how they went out of their way to protect Ray Epps. Did they do that to anyone else? No. This is the guy that was running around saying, we must storm the Capitol. We must go inside. And he was all over the place. And they went out of their way to protect the confidential human source. This tells you everything you need to know. Because if it was truly a Trump supporter, they would have had that person thrown in jail in a split second. And I think everyone knows this. And this is what they're doing. They're covering up the election fraud. The elections were rigged. And everyone is seeing this. Everyone is starting to realize how bad it really is. Remember, sometimes you must show the people the truth. And the people now are learning the truth. Trump, he put this out on Truth Social. He's referring to Dan Bongino's truth. And it's a video of a woman in Maricopa County letting everyone know that the officials have no idea how fed up the American people are. And the people don't believe what they're doing. The people know that they're involved in this. And Trump responded to this and said, this is a must watch. Our elections are rigged. Mail-in ballots are a total scam. How about all those broken Republican voting machines? Get smart, Republicans, or you won't have a party or country left. Well, I don't think the rhinos really care because they cheat in the elections too. They're installed. You think McConnell has been in this position because everyone loves him? Absolutely not. We'll be talking about McConnell in just a second. But we can see that things are heating up in Arizona. Carrie Lake, her war room, put this out on Twitter and said the following. We've been informed the entire Yavapai BOS, with one Democrat exception, expressed belief the election had serious errors, but we're told by the county attorney, deputy attorney, and county administrator they must certify today or face Class 6 felony charges. So they're forcing the people who don't believe the elections were on the up and up, they're forcing them to certify the elections. Really think about this. This is a free and open, transparent election. They're forcing people, you must certify, we don't care what you think. Trump, he put this out on Truth Social. He said, the Maricopa supervisors are far worse than the Democrats ever were. The only question is why, because they're controlled. That's why. Now, what's very interesting is that Cochise County, they've been sued twice after voting delay election certification. And we can see that Katie Hobbs is going after them. Remember, she is the one who is running for governor. She's the one who is overseeing the election. And she's the one who is filing suit against these counties. I mean, is there a conflict of interest here? Absolutely. And I think the world is watching this. It's absolutely unbelievable. So Bram Resnick on Twitter put this out and said, next, Arizona Secretary of State Katie Hobbs plans to file suit against Cochise County by 5 p.m. Kari Lake War Room responded to this and said, it seems like a conflict of interest for the Secretary of State to be suing a county demanding they certify her as the next governor. Absolutely. And then we had Kari Lake. She was on the Charlie Kirk show. And Kari Lake explains that due to Arizona statute, her team can't challenge the election until it's certified by the state. They ran the sham election, and this is a sham certification, but we have to go by Arizona statute. And it says we can't legally challenge it until it's been certified. And the state will certify it. I believe it is either the 5th or 6th of December. Bottom line, Kari isn't conceding and will be continuing to fight this. Now, I do believe that they knew eventually what was going to happen is they were going to certify this. But what they needed to do is they needed to show everyone how bad the elections were and gather the data, gather the information, which I do believe, and I do believe they're way ahead of this. Because remember, Kari Lake was continually saying, we're watching, we have people on the ground, and there are certain steps that must be followed because we're following the rule of law, and we need to do it correctly. And I do believe we're going to see some changes happen, and I do believe we're going to see a lot of things happen in Arizona. We'll have to watch this very carefully. Trump, he put this out on Truth Social. He said the following. Remember, you can never have fair and free elections with mail-in ballots. Never, never, never. Won't and can't happen. And he's absolutely right. But you can see that the deep state players, they're doing everything they possibly can to keep Trump from running in the 2024 election. And remember, they can't have the red wave happen. They can't have the Senate completely taken over, the House completely taken over. They can't have governors in certain positions. Why do you think they cheated the way they cheated? They were fighting against a red wave. You don't cheat like this if there was no red wave. If there was no red wave, you wouldn't have to cheat at all. You'd be in total and utter control. The only reason you would have to do things the way we're seeing them play out is because there were so many people, you needed the time to cheat. And this is exactly what we're witnessing. But look what they're doing to Trump right now. They're attacking him, and these attacks are going to get a lot more intense. Patriots are in control, put this out and said, these news outlets have the same garbage handful of attacks that they recycle over and over again. Is this the dinner really worthy of wall-to-wall coverage? How about they take these resources and do a few more stories on missing children and child trafficking? Well, I guess that would be a pretty tall ask for the news organizations that covered for Jeffrey Epstein for years and covering for Balenciaga and all the rest. So basically what they're going on and on about, and this is all coming from USA Today, NBC News, The Hill, Trump dinner with white nationalist Fuentes, not accidental. Republican criticism of Trump builds after his dinner with a white supremacist. Now, they're continually doing this because they're trying to find another way to keep Trump from running in the 2024 election. And remember, Trump continually said, I had no idea who this was. I didn't know who Kanye was bringing. He had no idea about any of this. And when did it get to the point where you can't speak to someone? Where all of a sudden, just because you speak to someone, you're part of what they believe in? I mean, this is absolutely ridiculous. Actually, if they want to go down this path, then I guess Hillary Clinton, who was at Senator Byrd's funeral, who was like one of the head of the Ku Klux Klan, Joe Biden, they all spoke about him. They were their mentor and everything like that. I guess they're part of the Ku Klux Klan. Actually, they probably are. But again, they're the ones who are saying that these people, this individual was their mentor. Trump's not saying that. Trump says, I don't know who this person is. Yeah, I spoke to them, but I speak to a lot of people. Can you imagine if you were at work and you spoke to someone and says, oh my God, you spoke to that person? You're anti-Semitic. You're a white supremacist. That'd be absolutely ridiculous. But you could see what they're doing here. They're using this because this is all they have. They have nothing. I mean, look, they're scraping the bottom of the garbage can right now. I guess this is what we have to use because we have nothing else. They tried everything else. I mean, they're even resurrecting the Stormy Daniels thing. I mean, really think about this for a second. Mitch McConnell was out there, and he says there's no room in the Republican Party for anti-Semitism or white supremacy, so I guess he has to leave. And anyone meeting with people advocating that point of view, in my judgment, are highly unlikely ever be elected president of the United States. You see what they're doing here? They're trying to push this narrative, and it's all going to fail. No one is believing them. Actually, when you look at the poll numbers for McConnell, everyone hates him. No one is taking him seriously. They know he's a rhino. Trump, when he announced that he was running for the presidency, he pulled all the rhinos out of the shadows, and everyone can see them very, very clearly. And once again, they're scraping at the bottom of the barrel now, and this is all they have? Wow, this is pretty weak then. But look what's happening with the special counsel. They're going to try to use the special counsel to indict Trump, and I do believe they're walking down this path, and I do believe they're trying to get the Trump base very, very angry, because I think in the end, what they're really trying to do is they're trying to create a civil war. Now, Paul Sperry, he put this out on Getter. He said, the sister-in-law of special counsel Jack Smith compared Trump winning the White House to 9/11 attacks, according to a blog she wrote after his 2016 election. And like Smith's wife, she contributed money to the Biden for President and Biden Victory Fund in 2020, FEC records show. A New York psychotherapist, Smith's sister-in-law, Blue Chevegny, advised her crying, sobbing patients to resist and fight Trump administration. Trump was triggering for people. They felt threatened. I felt so scared myself and utterly without hope, so depressed. That's what she wrote on November 19, 2016. I woke up to the same feeling of dread I recalled after the attacks of 9/11. I wanted to be ready to act if Trump does something terrible, and I wanted my patients to be vigilant too. Trump responded to this and says, and I'm supposed to get a fair shake from this person who under tremendous pressure from his family, but he is actually worse than they are? Can Republicans and fair-minded people generally allow this to happen? Jack Smith is nothing less than a hitman for Obama, his attorney, General Eric Holder, and Andrew Weissman. Weaponization, our country is in big trouble and a real mess. Then he put out these couple of truths here. He said, this fully weaponized monster, Jack Smith, shouldn't be led anywhere near political persecution of President Donald J. Trump. I did nothing wrong on January 6th and nothing wrong with the Democrats' fix on the Democrat hoax. That is, unless the 6 previous presidents did something wrong also. When will you invade Bill and Hillary's home in search of the 33,000 emails she deleted after receiving a subpoena from the U.S. Congress? When will you invade the other presidents' homes in search of documents, which are voluminous, which they took with them, but not nearly so openly and transparently as I did? Now, it's very interesting that he's mentioning the emails, mentioning the other documentation. I wonder if he declassified all this information, because nothing is ever deleted. And I do believe he's bringing this up, letting everyone know he has it all. And eventually, it's going to be brought out into the public realm. The people are going to see the truth. Now, I want to read this next truth from Trump, because I do believe he is saying something. He says, I was 232 to 22 in the midterms elections, and I still have to listen to Dems, rhinos, and the fake news explain how poorly I did. Also, 98.6% in Republican nomination endorsements. Without my endorsements, Republican candidates, the numbers would have been a disaster. Same for 2018 and the corrupt election of 2020, where almost everyone won because, and with the help of me, except me, and that's because the presidential election was rigged and stolen. So he's letting everyone know, he's letting the rhinos know, without him, they can't win. And I think the people are seeing this. Now, what's very interesting, he capitalized me and except me. And that reminds me of post 2816. Now, this is February 19, 2019, and it says the declassification of all requested documents plus more will occur. This is not a game. Now, think about the other posts, about the 33,000 emails, the voluminous documentation that the other presidents have. I do believe Trump probably has a lot of this documentation himself. He says, do not let personal emotion and desires do it now. What is taking so long now, take over. Logical thinking and strategy should always be applied. Game theory. We all want to see equal justice under the law. Now I'm going to skip down to the bottom here. There is evil in this world. There is darkness in this world. There are those in power who wish to control, enslave you, to keep you sedated, to keep you unaware, to keep you blind. This will be on our timetable, and we will deliver. And we will deliver is on all caps. Transparency and prosecution. There is simply no other way except one. Now, it's interesting because except one, except me. There's no other way except with Trump. I do believe this is exactly what he's saying. Yes, you can also say there's no other way except with Trump and the military. The people, they need to be brought up to speed. And I'm not talking about Anons, those people, and everyone that's awake. I'm talking about your family, your friends, your relatives, the other people in this country. Yes, they might love Trump. They might like it that he's running for president, but they need to see everything else. They need to break the chains of enslavement. They need to break away from the brainwashing. They need to think logically. And yes, this takes time because we need to do it right. We need to do it by using the rule of law. And we are in a war, and this is being fought with information. I do believe this is why Elon was brought into the fold. And wars, they normally don't have a timetable. No one says, hey, oh, wait, we're in World War II. By the way, this is going to be a 3-year war. Oh, wait, World War I? Yeah, I'm going to give this one 6 years. War isn't fought that way. War is when you defeat your enemy or they just surrender. And I do believe that Q let us know the actual time frame. And remember, this is a war. Now everyone can see how bad it really is, how the infiltration of this country, how deep and how wide it really is, and how much they control. And I do believe it's a lot more than people actually realized. And now people can see it and how much control they have. But their control is being chipped away. And since we're fighting an information war, thank God it's not a real war, because this would be a disaster. Actually, that's what they really want. They want a real war. They want a civil war because they love death and destruction. They love people fighting against each other. But we're not fighting against each other. We're fighting against the deep state using information. But Awaken Outlaw refers us to post 3387 and let us know how long that this theater of war is going to take. Now, this is a estimated time span. Now, it might be a little bit shorter, maybe a little bit longer, but Q, I do believe, was laying out the time frame so we understand how long this was going to take. And in this post, and by the way, this is a post 3387 from July 9, 2019, it says, listen carefully. Again, now it was a YouTube video of Trump letting everyone know how we're going to destroy the deep state. This was the video that was going to get Trump elected. It says, note past 2 years. 2019 minus 2 years is 2017. Note next 6 years. 2019 minus 6 years is 2025. So you were told what was going to happen. You were told what battles we face. Strategic, pre-planned, patriots are in control. So if everyone thinking that this is going to end tomorrow or the next year, this is a war. You're fighting for freedom. You're fighting for your way of life. Listen, if you want to throw in the towel and go be locked down like China, be controlled, be under the control of the central bank, yes, you can throw in the towel. But freedom just doesn't, it's not handed to you. You need to fight. And I do believe that everyone needs to fight. And this is why Trump and the Patriots need everyone awake to fight against this evil. And to wake people up, it takes time. Just talk to your family, talk to your relatives. Some of them you can't even talk to because they're so brainwashed. They're so in MSNBC, CNN, they can't think any other way. Now, there are others that are waking up and they're starting to realize what's really going on. And I do believe Trump, he knew it was going to take time. It was going to be a battle of all battles using information. And this is what we're witnessing. And he knew it was going to take a long time. Yes. Could he have tried to bring in the military? Could he have tried to arrest all these people? But what do you think the deep state was going to do? You think if we arrested Obama and Clinton and all this, you think they wouldn't have set off a nuclear bomb in the country? You don't think they would have fired a missile from North Korea into the United States and started a war? I mean, really think logically. Do you think the deep state, you think they really care about our lives? They wanted a war from the very beginning. That's part of the 16-year plan. Trump knew this. The Patriots knew this. And they knew that the people, to keep this country, they were going to have to take it back because they were going to have to understand what was at stake and how they infiltrated this country and how messed up it was and how evil they were. And I do believe the people are learning. The people are waking up. And now with Twitter, the game has completely changed. And if you notice, the fake news with their propaganda, it doesn't last a year. It doesn't last 2 years. Sometimes it doesn't even last a day now. That means the Patriots are winning. That means the Patriots are in control. Think about what has come out. Think about what has been exposed. Now it's going to start to move. I do believe we've been seeing drip, drip, drip. I do believe now we're going to start to see the flood take hold, and we're going to see a lot more information being produced. And yes, the deep state, they're going to do whatever they possibly can to try to stop this, but they won't be able to. All the countermeasures are in place. The playbook is known. The Patriots are in full and utter control. Listen, everyone, thanks a lot for listening. Be well, be safe, and especially be prepared. Thanks a lot.
All right, guys. Well, like I said, it's a little long, but it's pretty informational. Yeah, I mean, it's hard to believe, but yeah, what he was talking about is true. They've infiltrated everywhere. And the whole MK Ultra thing and mind control. Well, all we're watching on TV and stuff, they switched it up so fast that TV viewing is changed to commercials and stuff. And I'm not going into how everybody knows how it's changed. But I think the whole thing is like a bit of a psyop. Get you, it's like everything's okay. It's not a big deal. When 30 years ago, yeah, it probably was a big deal. It probably wasn't okay. So I don't know. Take that and run with it, guys. I ain't going any deeper. I'll probably get tossed off just for what I'm putting up. So I ain't gonna say a whole lot. But have a great day. Like, share, subscribe. I see a few people are watching it. That's cool. So take it easy and catch you the next one. Bye now.